Hello and welcome in, Magic learners. Much love. Travis here, bringing you another match of Inverter of Truths. Opponent mulligans to 5. We'll see if they scoop out of the match, or if they are going to stick with it. You never know in the constructed open. It's the tournament practice room. It's a psychological experiment. Okay, so it looks like we're off. So I said I would be back and I would make some changes to the deck. I decided I would explain in the gameplay. I actually did not change the main deck, but I made some moves to the sideboard. The first thing that I did is I added Thirst for Knowledge to the board, cut a few random things. Thirst for Knowledge, draw 3, discard an artifact. This is a way to improve our odds in the long game, and I added another removal spell to the sideboard. Otherwise, not that the deck is necessarily great, but there weren't any obvious changes I wanted to make to the main. Alright, there's an Aether Vial, which is maybe fast enough. However, I'm going to start off with Serum Visions and just see what we find. There's another Inverter, which I feel is not what we want. I don't think the land is what we want either. My feeling is just playing Shelldock into Lab Maniac. There's a Spell Skite. Is probably a good bet. I feel that Aether Vial is... We could have played it this turn, but based on the opponent's speed, wait another 4 turns to get Inverter into play. I would rather just cast it and get the other stuff going on. So, game plan is on this next turn, well, we'll see if we'll actually get killed. It's possible. On this next turn, we can get Lab Maniac out into Inverter, or we could do some sleight of hand action. Boros Charm. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Falling to 8. So, the opponent has a couple burn spells. Snapcaster Mage is great. Really good draw. I'm going to put Snapcaster Mage down and use the Serum Visions. So, we're not going to have a graveyard at this point. Oh, I don't think Sleight of Hand draws a card on an empty deck. So maybe we actually want to cast Sleight of Hand. That doesn't seem right. It seems like we should cast the Serum Visions. It's a pretty weird situation though. Another Lab Maniac. Too many Shelldocks. Do we want another Lab Maniac? Do we want another Lab Maniac? We already have the 1 and we have the Spell Skite. Next turn we're going to play River and we're going to play Inverter, hopefully with Snapcaster in the graveyard. And then we're going to play... That's a hard... I don't know. I'm going to put it on top. Maybe we play Lab Maniac as a chump blocker. Okay, it's unclear. Somewhat unclear. I am kind of scared to raw dog the Maniac. I think bottoming it and looking for a burn spell might have been a safer bet. Gonna go ahead and chump. This puts a card in our graveyard. Wow, and we got a trade. So we could play the Inverter right now. Or we could play Lab Maniac. So if we play Inverter, next turn we can play Lab Maniac with Spell Skite up, potentially. Probably. We would have to take 2 damage to do it, though. Alternatively, we play Lab Maniac and a tapped land. And the next turn, we would have 5 mana and be able to play Inverter plus Slight, which wouldn't win the game. I feel like... Sorry, I just saw this. Okay. Well, you know, I'm gonna cast Inverter of Truth. Next turn we draw our Snapcaster Mage. So, we're all in, basically. If the opponent can do 6 to us, and if we don't draw an untapped land, we're probably going to be dead. Or, I just don't want to give the opponent more draw steps. That seems loose. Spellskite can also protect our life total, perhaps. If we can change a Lightning Bolt into a Shock, that might be enough. So, we're on the brink here. Opponent Lava Spikes us to 5. Yeah, we want a discard spell to, like, really know. So, here's the tough call. We could play Lab Maniac and we could ship the turn at 3. Sorry, we could play Lab Maniac and we could ship the turn. I believe, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put them one into your hand. I don't know if this card has been errated, but from the way it's written right here, it's not going to draw any cards. So, that's not really an option. So we could play Lab Maniac and pass at 5, but if our Lab Maniac gets killed, alternatively, we could play Lab Maniac, go to 3 life with Spellskite up. I think I'm going to actually do that if we die as a result. I'm sorry. It's really, really unclear, and this one's a little bit more cutesy. It's really, really unclear. If we get Boros Charmed, even if we die, I'm not certain it was wrong, because the opponent can always top deck another burn spell next turn. Okay, yeah. Maybe Sleight of Hand wins. Just from the way it's worded here, it seems like it doesn't. Maybe we get Lava Spiked. It was very unclear, that play. Hoping the opponent is just drawing creatures. Boros Charm. Alright, well, I'm going to ask you, did you have another burn spell? I just want to know. Not that it determines it. Nope. So, could have won by not paying the life and playing Sleight of Hand. So, GG. Fascinating. Oops. Well, if we lost to a double mulligan, that's not a good sign. This deck is not... I know some people are like, please be tier 1. It has not been that way thus far. So let's get in some disfigures, some dispels, some go for the throats, and removal, perhaps. See what we can take out. I like snaps. Don't really want to... Murderous Cut's maybe a bit slower than the other removal. And say that we need to cut just one more card. And we can rock 61 like a boss. So, based on the last game, I'm thinking I might go back to Thought Scour. I like the sound. Thought Scour could have made that last game much easier. The way that it would have. I'm going to start off with a Thought Seize. Is instead of Sleight of Hand, which I'm not sure if it wins, Thought Scour definitely would have won, and it would have done so at instant speed. So we could have played the Lab Maniac. Destructive Revelry. Okay, I'm going to take the Wild Neck Cattle. Yeah, we could have kept the 1 mana up at 5 life and then had Thought Scour to play as an instant, so that could have beaten 2 burn spells, perhaps. Okay, there's another one, but fortunately we have Disfigure. There's the Grim Lavamancer, but we could snap Disfigure it. So no biggie. Disfigure that mama. Get down Sheldock. Grab a Spellskite and ship the turn. Okay, opponent said Luxor. I think that means they got lucky. Well, there's always another line you can take. And by the way, if you've made it this far and you're like, what is this? This is daily Magic. I like to play it in the late morning or early morning, early afternoon as a way to optimize my thinking for the day, as a way to do some math, do some sequencing, as a way to do some experimenting and make some mistakes and live through them in the early day, as a way to share and put myself out there in front of an audience in the early part of the day. Makes my days better, and for those of you that do a daily crossword or something like that, I'm sure you understand the value in an activity like this. So here, Sleight of Hand is better than Thought Scour. It's not always obvious. Grab a Doomblade. Basically, we've got tons of removal. Not a whole a lot going on. So hopefully the Snapcaster can win on its own. We've got Inverter of Truths as probably our best top deck. Would be happy to just win via beatdown. Swift Spear is fine. I'm going to Doomblade that. So the control game is working. I'm going to Doomblade that. And based on what the opponent has, they have a Lightning Bolt and a Destructive Revelry. Fascinating that they're not using the Bolt on the Snapcaster Mage, because that could come back to bite them. They're now at 12, which is 6 turns with this Snapcaster Mage or a Destructive Revel, or rather an Inverter of Truths is going to cut the clock down to, well, it's flooded both ways, so can't really complain, either of us. And we have crazy mana so that if we play an Inverter of Truths, we'll be able to Sheldock at least once immediately with Dispel backup. So, Goblin Guide is slightly annoying. It changes the clock. Lab Maniac entered the revealed card zone. So, Lab Maniac's not a horrible draw, just as a 2-2. Just having a 2-2 seems good here. So the opponent's Destructive Revelry and a Lightning Bolt, right? We can counter one. It seems like we want to just push damage. And we're not going to play an artifact, so the Revelry is not going to do anything. And we can dispel one Lightning Bolt. I like the idea of putting the opponent on a short clock, and alternatively just trading Lab Maniac with Goblin Guide. If we can do that, I'm quite happy as well. No problems, no qualms. 4, 5, 6, 7. Opponent has a Revelry, which is a brick. We're not going to play Aether Vial. See what this Goblin Guide does. Snapcaster Mage. Ooh, baby, that's a great draw. Even based on that, I'm still going to trade. Or not. We could go to 11, and we have a Dispel for 1. I'm going to take it and go aggro. We've got a Snapcaster Doomblade for that, and we've got Dispel for Tarka's Command. Alright, I'm going to dispel it, because this is going to do more damage than the lightning bolt. So they have a lightning bolt and a destructive revelry. And I feel that they're at a point where they got to think about using this lightning bolt defensively. Although that's not going to work anymore because we can Snapcaster Dispel. Okay, we're at 11 and they've got a lightning bolt and a revelry. I don't see how we can lose. If they hit a wild and a cattle and have a 3/3 blocker, let's see what we hit off the Goblin Guide. Oh, the opponent is playing defense. I'm going to go ahead and Snapcaster Major Doomblade. Then we've got 6 damage to the opponent's 4 life. They're going to need 2 burn spells. And they only have 1. They've got a lightning bolt and a revelry, so... Alright, well, hey, we won a game, which was cool. And game 1 was definitely winnable. I'm mixed on the sleight of hand. It's not clear. Sometimes one is better, sometimes the other is better, so you never know. If the games go at all like that, I'm interested in a thirst for knowledge. And maybe, if the opponent is on destructive revelries, maybe Spellskite gets worse. Although we do have discard for it. Aether Vials. Revelry is a beating if that happens, but we don't have enough alternative cards to bring in. It's unclear how good Thoughtseize is. Damnation. I'm gonna go like this. See how we do. Alright, back for game 3. I think I'm gonna keep it. We could mulligan. Doesn't really look like a winning hand. Opponent keeps. Doesn't really look like a winning hand. I don't know that mulliganing is going to improve our odds because having raw cards is pretty helpful here. So we're going to go Swamp into Spellskite into Lab Maniac. It's pretty rough. I think I might mulligan, although I'm not sure because this hand has 3 lands. Spellskite is great if the opponent does not have Destructive Revelry. And we have Sleight of Hand. But I'm going to roll the dice and hope we can do better. This is better. Kind of. I'm going to bottom that. All our lands come into play tapped. But this is kind of better. If we draw an untapped land, perhaps. See if we get Goblin Guided. Rift Bolt. No creatures, so that's at least a good sign. And we hit a Darkslick Shores, so we have an untapped turn 2 play to cast either a Go for the Throat or a Spellskite. Destructive Revelry is just a beating. We don't have any discard yet. I'm not necessarily going to play around it. And we've got a long way to win. Maybe there's an idol on here. Would not be what I would want to see. What we would want to see. Boros Charm. Alright, well, we're already at 13. The good news is that the opponent's mana looks a little bit sketchy. I'm going to go for an Aether Vial here. The alternative is play a Spellskite or a Go for the Throat. This way we can maybe surprise the Spellskite. Oh, what? Oh, this is an Islander Swamp. Awesome. I didn't realize that worked. Oh, that's not so bad. Well, the opponent's missing red mana, which could be really helpful. It's certainly helpful. We're so far from winning, though. Molten Rain. Well, the good news is that we played Aether Vial, so we don't care so much about that. I'm gonna play Spellskite. Maybe it gets killed. But next turn we might want to use Snapcaster off of our Vial, and the next turn Lab Maniac, so... Oh no, the opponent has red mana. If we get Destructive Revelry, we're getting Revelry right out of this ball game. They still have 3 cards left. If it's just burn spells, we have a slight chance. Okay, great. We want to see creatures, because we can go for the throat. We're down to 7, but the opponent only has 1 card left. Best draw is Dispel, probably. There's a Catacomb. And we're going to ship the turn. Not sure I'm seeing either Vial fit in. Who are you to correct this deck? It's not your deck, man. It's not your deck. Okay, we're gonna lose that. Yeah, I mean, the card isn't perfect, but it gets us our mana at instant speed spell skites and snaps and maniacs inverter. If y'all remember match 1, Chill was just taking an interest. Alright, I'll explain to him. Aether Vial curves Spellskite into Maniac into Inverter of Truths at instant speed with counter mana up. Otherwise, you have to hit land drops and tap out. Yeah. Aether Vial is great. Also, I would recommend not telling people to chill out and relax. In my experience, that doesn't cause people to chill out and relax. Is that true? If you say, calm down, man, you're freaking out. Like, that is like the #1 way to not win someone to your side, right? Why not just play more control? The opponent did not attack, but whatever, we have go for the throat for it, which I'm going to use anyways. Aether Vial is perfect. Aether Vial is great in a control. Makes 2, 7, 9 mana by turn 5 flash. People don't understand this card. Although, I mean, it can flood, but we only play 21 lands, so it is a necessary, yeah. I mean, it's like a land. You draw an extra land and it sucks, right? Aether Vial contributing to flooding is not really a problem for me, because without Aether Vial we'd be playing 23 or 24 lands. With it, we're playing 25, and it tends to flood. Or, I mean, lands are just not great in the late game anyways. This one, the upside of this card is so high. Top deck is the same as the land. Right? Doesn't need to be a great top deck, because otherwise it would be a land. Otherwise, it would be a land. Right. Okay, so I'm going to try to trade Lab Maniac with that. That seems like the best thing that can happen for us, otherwise it's going to be really painful. And here's the benefit of Aether Vial, because otherwise we would be taking damage to do this. And instead we're not. Searing Blaze. Well, the opponent screwed up. They did not sack their fetch land, so that's going to help us. Now, here's a thought. The opponent does not have any cards left. And they're at 12. We could throw down 2 Snapcaster Mages and end this game in 3 turns. Or we could wait to top deck. I say let's go for it. Let's turn him sideways. By the way, Aethervial better than a land this game. Take it up to 4. Sheldock Isle. Sleight of hand. I don't believe that is going to matter too much. Let's put the opponent to 8. So this game, either way, yeah, if we win, I think we're going to move on. If we lose, I believe I'm going to come back for one more match tomorrow. Try to get a W. Okay, so having one left over for Go for the Throat probably would have been preferable, or may have been, if not for this Disfigure. Perfect timing. Attack the opponent to 4, and they're down to their last draw step. If it's a Boros Charm and we're dead, that sucks. Hey, we won. Awesome. Alright, well, let's go ahead and check out the match. And we got our victory. Sorry for the little squabbling, but, I mean, I don't know. I felt compelled to talk. And Aethervial ended up winning the game. Or may have. We would have been at 2 life instead of... It distracted the opponent as well for making the correct play. And, yeah, I mean, we have the 2s, the 3s, the 4s. Y'all get it. Thanks to everyone for watching. I had a lot of time with this fun new brew. We may revisit it. And otherwise, we are going to move on to something new tomorrow. So make sure to tune in tomorrow. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think about my... Was I out of line by saying it's not your deck when the opponent is saying, I don't know about that, right? I feel like that is showing a lack of respect. I'm not critiquing the opponent's card choices. I don't know his deck. I haven't played it. I have played this deck, right? Am I wrong for... Was I out of control and needed to chill out? You tell me. How do we deal with people, me and others? Is the question, psychological stuff. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Much love. Thanks for watching.